We've got Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw joining us this morning. Lots of news when it comes to Biocon. We saw the action in the stock price also last week. Ms. Shaw, good morning. Want to first understand from you on the Mylan and Biocon launch, the new insulin. Even though it was expected, how big a milestone is this for the company?
I think this is a very big milestone for us, both Mylan and Biocon, because this is our entry into a very large opportunity, which is the insulin space. As you know, this is our first insulin analog that we have launched into the US market. We have already launched in Europe, but US is the big market that we are looking at. And this is going to be followed by other analogs like Aspart, and we have our own recombinant human insulin, hopefully entering the market in the not too distant future. So I think we will have a very comprehensive, portfolio of insulin analogs, which makes it a very exciting play for us. And this is a big opportunity because it is a big need. And I think the big controversy today in the US is about insulin pricing, and we believe that we can disrupt it.
What about market share as well? You've already seen about 3 biosimilars in the US. So what's the kind of market share that you gain and are also positioned to gain post this?
Well, I think this question is better posed to Mylan, but in my view, all I can say is that, it's a $2.2 billion opportunity for Biocon and Mylan, insulin glargine, that is. And we believe that we should very easily be able to get into double digit and beyond in the coming years.
Sure. Do you expect insulin biosimilars to contribute significantly, though, to Biocon biologics over, say, the next 2 to 3 years?
Absolutely. I believe that we are very, very strong on this segment because there are very few players. And even if new players come into the market, it is going to take them time because this is about building scale in one's manufacturing capacity and in the portfolio development, which also takes time. So right now, the only competition we really are facing is by already entrenched players. So it's Lilly who has developed a biosimilar. We are still competing with the originators of these products, which is really the Novo and Sanofi and Lilly. So we believe that we are not seeing new entrants coming in to disrupt the market like we can. Secondly, I think we are also seeing that some of the others who actually attempted to get into the market decided not to do that because it involved building new scale. This is a scale game. This is a volumes game. And unless you're willing to invest in building scale and volume, I don't think it's going to really generate the kind of returns that most companies want.
To add to that, like one of the top brokerages also says about your company, would you also believe that the competitive dynamics in insulin biosimilars remains favorable for Mylan Biocon given the limited number of players in the segment?
Exactly what I said, that because of the limited competition, we will become a significant player in biosimilar insulins. And we believe this is a growing segment. So we believe we can actually start cannibalizing the entrenched players much more rapidly through price disruption than we can with other biologics.
Sure. We've been speaking with a lot of other pharma companies as well, Lupin, Aurobindo. They're all planning to invest big when it comes to biosimilars. What are your own plans and how is it that you are planning to now attain scalability here?
Well, we have actually been investing in biosimilars for over a decade, as you know. And I think the good news is that we have invested in scale from day one because we realized what the need was and how you can actually succeed in this particular segment. So whether it comes to biologics, whether it comes to insulins, we have built the mega scale that you need to compete effectively in global markets. As you know, we've invested a huge amount. We've been investing over $500 million in the last few years in creating the kind of scale that we have in both our biologics, drug substance, and drug product, and then another $500 million in the area of insulins. So we've actually invested over $1 billion over the last decade in building this scale. Now, and we have a very, very rich and, I think one of the largest pipelines in the industry. We have 28 molecules either under development or in the market. So I think this puts us into a very strong position in biosimilars. I think this is a very important, segment to approach for any company, but it takes time to build scale, to build the kind of understanding of what it takes to get products from the lab to the market, etc., etc. We've done that very successfully for many years now, and therefore for us to pursue this opportunity in the coming future becomes much easier than for companies who are just getting into this space.
Ms. Shaw, hi there. Good morning. And what about insulin? We've seen that, the company has been focused here. Do you think that Biocon will continue to remain committed to the supply of insulin at low cost prices to other nations who perhaps can't afford it?
Well, absolutely. I think we have been absolutely focused on this allowing or enabling access to affordable insulin. We're absolutely committed to that. Our 10 cents insulin pledge is very much there, and we are in the process of signing up with many countries. So I think this is a very important commitment and pledge we've made for global healthcare.
Okay. And in generics, we've seen a number of players coming in. Do you think that in biologics, there have been far fewer players who have perhaps invested, and in comparison, the players here are rather limited in the near term? What's the outlook on both?
Well, as a company, we've always tried to differentiate and try and carve ourselves a differentiated niche, if you were to call it that, and we wanted to focus on areas which is less crowded. So whether it is generic molecules or whether it is biosimilars, we've aimed to do that. Well, in biosimilars, it has worked out because of the investment needs of this sector, which sees fewer people. But when it comes to our generic molecules as well, we have looked at complex generics, we have looked at fermentation, biosynthetic generics, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, we've looked at, the oncology products. So potent generics is also what we've looked at, because there, again, manufacturing complexity and the kind of, higher regulatory barriers that injectables have is the kind of area we want to be in, where we can make a difference.